Hey, your viewers and viewesses, my name is John Red Strategist and welcome back to So You're Being Hunted. This is episode 229, if I'm not mistaken. Now, last few episodes I've actually had a bit of a trouble really with the episode numbering. In my last recording session I kept forgetting what episode number I was up to, and you'll notice, well, if you've been paying attention in the last couple of videos, that basically I would introduce and I would say what episode number it was, but then there'd be a discrepancy between the actual number and the title. It's because I made a bit of a mistake. So basically, of course, in the last episode I was kind of, coming towards the end of my memorial tour, I won't call it a challenge, but my memorial kind of tour thing that I was doing, and I mentioned that I'd probably do one more episode of that, which I'm going to do here, where basically I've set the map to now spawn a ton of, well, basically castles, because that's the thing, I didn't actually set any castle biomes, which was a bit silly of me. So that's what I've gone and done. I've created a completely new map with some actual castle biomes on it. Well, each island is basically a castle biome. So I'm going to look for some blue plaques. That's what I'm trying to get to here, and not quite managing to do so because I'm a bit of an idiot. So yeah, this will basically be kind of one more episode, I would say, of the memorial tour, maybe two, depending on whether I feel like it's worth perhaps going to the other islands and seeing what sort of blue plaques might be on there, if there's anything different. So yeah, we might be here for another couple of episodes yet. One at the very minimum, we'll see. But yes, that's the thing, these episodes, they have a very podcasty style, which is quite enjoyable. Now I'm in the centre of the map here, as you can see, and just looking at this, if I look sort of directly ahead, there is a castle over there. So let's just look at the map. So I'm guessing that's this up here. If I drop marker 1 on that, that's the castle up there. So let's just pirouette on our heel here. And I was just going to say, see if there are any other castles visible in the immediate area. There's obviously a great big castle wall going on over here, but yeah, it's obviously not a proper castle, that's just the wall. Okay, well, I guess we can start by heading in this direction and get my binoculars out whilst I'm at it. I can also, get something for a thumbnail, just there. If I get a bit closer, actually, so it comes into a bit more focus. There we go. Always good for a thumbnail. Nice. So let's go see, what sort of blue plaques are actually, if any, are actually harboured over here. Now that's the thing about the castle biomes. I don't know. You see, I know I've played So You're Being Hunted for so long now that really I should probably know this. I should probably have picked up on it, but you know how the rural biomes always have that kind of, I've noticed that they typically have a certain layout to them when they generate. Usually there's like a central village, and then there's kind of stuff around it, extra villages, blah blah blah. Well, I should really have noticed. I wonder if there's like a similar kind of thing going on with the castle biomes. Maybe there's like a central castle, and then there's maybe, I don't know, sort of smaller villages and things that branch off from it, perhaps. In memory of James H. Paul, cat lover, brother, metal fan, 30th of the 12th, 1986, 7th of the 3rd, 2012. Oh, okay. Who is James H. Paul? Is that a real person? Sounds like maybe it could be. I may tab out and have a look on Google after I've, recorded this episode, just to see if James H. Paul is actually a real person. Because that's interesting. Okay, does anyone see a blue plaque around here? See the little rope, chain and pole barrier here, but I don't see a specifically blue plaque in this particular castle. Seems a weird little wall that's spawned. Or generated, rather. Well, it doesn't look like there's a blue plaque in this particular castle. Well, now that we've got it marked on the map, we know not to come back here. Okay. Doesn't look like there is one. Right. I'm guessing that is the deal with castle biomes. That basically you get a central castle on each kind of island, and then various stuff that spawns around it. But having said that, there might be another one actually over there, which I can just sort of see in the distance over that wall top. It looks like something. It could be a castle, it could be a lone tower, I'm not sure. Once again, of course, I've taken off all the robot spawn settings so that we're, not going to have to worry about enemies potentially getting in our way. Okay. It looks like there's a lone tower off in that direction. Juggler's Porridgery. The buildings which stood on these foundations were made available to the Duke of Wessex. Interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. Okay, well, whilst we're making our way over here, I suppose I'll converse, as I always do in these episodes. How are you guys all doing out there? Hope you're still enjoying this little memorial tour so far. We definitely are going to be wrapping up, I think, if not after this episode, definitely after the next few, I would say. Just because, I think there's a limit to how much further this particular little experiment can go. But yeah, so what are you guys up to out there at the moment? This definitely looks actually like another castle. Okay, yeah, this is definitely another castle. So maybe that's how castle biomes generate. You get maybe 2 big castles which spawn on the map. Okay, looking around. Is that a sign there? It looks like a sign or a bench, but damn, it's gone dark. I could do with a torch. Where's the wording on this thing? Is it around here? It should be around here. James H. Paul again. That's interesting. Is he the only name that actually appears on these particular statues? Okay. I think I recognise the kind of castle shape. Because if you look at the shape on the map, you see the kind of lines form, sort of like a shape, a distinct kind of shape. That's what I want to say. So are there any more of those actually located on this island? Or is that it? I can't see any more sort of distinct shapes like these 2 things here. So it is maybe worth us travelling to another island at this point. I mean, at this rate, we could actually get this, memorial tour done fairly quickly in 1 or 2 episodes. 1 or 2 more episodes, that is. Okay, well, I'm going to assume that the way castle biomes generate is you get 2 castle biomes on an island, or 2 castles rather on an island. Okay, well let's move on, unless there's a blue plaque somewhere in here, but I don't see one. Obviously it doesn't help that it is actually dark. Is that what's that? That's just a tree stump, okay. That's also a tree stump. Definitely don't see a blue plaque anywhere. No. Oh, no, there is one. It's here. Martin Davis, 1898 to 1949. Poet-engineer. How very interesting, okay. I'm hoping there wasn't one of these back at the other castle that I just completely missed. I feel like going back and just checking again very quickly. Okay, fuck it, we'll do that. We'll go back over there. Okay, so in the meantime, of course, I was asking before, how you guys are all doing out there. Hope you're all doing well. I certainly am. Now, obviously, I can't remember whether it was the last episode. It may have been the last episode, I'm not sure, but obviously in a previous episode, during this little memorial tour thingy-bobber, I was talking a little bit about anime, which, is a subject I've talked about before during my So You're Being Hunted series. I mentioned, of course, I've been watching 91 Days. I mentioned I've been watching Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet, watched those. I've also been watching another series, actually, fairly recently. One which, it's taken me actually a while to get to, which I'm kind of wondering how I didn't manage to get to it sooner, because it's actually quite a big anime series, and that is Sword Art Online, everybody. Now, Sword Art Online is actually an interesting anime, because, of course, well, if you know anything about it, you know that it has quite a large fan base. There are a lot of people who really like Sword Art Online, who rave about it, who love it. And there's also a lot of people who regard it as kind of the anime that usually gets them into anime, or the anime that got them into anime in the first place, if that makes sense, It's like a starter anime, kind of. Yeah. But I also know that there's quite a sizable community of people, certainly on the internet at least, who like to hate on Sword Art Online. But yeah, but I've been watching it recently. I managed to get the first season on DVD. I've been slowly working my way through it. I'm up to about episode 19 or 20 at the moment, I think, if I remember correctly. But yes, so I've completed the Aincrad arc, the Aincrad story arc, and I'm currently watching the Fairy Dance story arc, which is very different, I'll put it that way. That's the thing, the first season of Sword Art Online, apparently is divided into these 2 story arcs. There's the Aincrad arc, which is the kind of starting one that introduces us to the main characters, Kirito, and of course Asuna, Yuki, his love interest, who is an interesting character. I imagine Asuna Yuki is probably, everyone's first kind of, well, I imagine Asuna Yuki is probably, everyone's kind of waifu, anime waifu for a lot of people, I'm guessing. And I can understand why. She's a pretty cute character. That's the thing, Asuna Yuki, I think, is very popular as a character because of the fact that she's a, relatively tough character. She's quite strong when she needs to be. but she's also quite a sensitive character. You know, she has an emotional side. So in that respect, you know, over the course of the Aincrad arc, we get to see a lot of different facets of her character. But I've heard that apparently some people don't... Wait, what? Wait, where's the boat? Hello? There's no boat on this jetty. Why? What? It's not under the water, is it? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Oh, well, that's weird. It's just a random jetty with no actual boat on it, and now I can't get out the water. Hold on. Ooh! Oh, great, you would spawn at this point, wouldn't you? Let me just get out. Oh, I need to get up on the beach. There we go. Quick, before he hits me. I forgot. Yeah, I may have taken off the majority of the robots, but the sea beast you can't actually get rid of. Oh no, the boat's on that end. Okay. I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's generated a bit weirdly, that's all. I thought it generated in this direction. Damn it. I thought the boat was going to be at that end, but no, it wasn't. It's at this end. Okay. Okay, so yeah, what was I saying? Asuna Yuki is, of course, a very interesting anime character. Fuck me! Dude! You're all up in my grill all of a sudden. I'm just trying to... Ow! I'm just trying to freaking talk about Sword Art Online. Oh my god, he's actually moving. Jesus. Get the fuck out, dude. Well, clearly he's a Sword Art Online hater. He doesn't like me talking about it, so... well, he's just going to have to fucking deal with it. Okay, let's just drink some... Get that down my throat. So I can actually regenerate health a little bit quicker. Now let's actually try getting to this freaking boat. It's weird how he just spawns in the middle of the jetty. I mean, I'm pretty sure, you know, it's not the first time I've had that issue, but, you know... whatever. Okay, take boat east. We're going to the East Island. We'll see if we can get the two castles on here. Anime, in that, you know, she's quite an interesting, well-rounded character. We see a lot of different aspects of her personality, and, you know, as a result, she is quite a popular character from that particular anime. But, you know, before I actually started watching Sword Art Online, I was aware that, of course, you know, I was aware of that sort of community of people who don't like it, who sort of kind of like to hate on it a bit, and, well, you know, having completed the Aincrad arc of the first season and now getting into the Fairy Dance arc, I can definitely see why people don't like the Fairy Dance arc, because that's the thing. As far as I'm aware, a lot of the criticism of SAO, particularly of its first season, centres on, particularly on the second story arc, the Fairy Dance arc, because, I don't know, apparently it's the weakest of all the story arcs in SAO, and, you know, I'll admit... as I'm watching it, at least from what I've watched of it so far, I'm not disliking it. I am enjoying it for what it is, but I can see why people don't like it. Why certain people don't like it, that is. Because the thing is, in the Aincrad arc, Asuna as a character had such a huge amount of time to shine. She had so many opportunities, and even though technically she's not the protagonist, that's Kirito who's the protagonist, you know, she does pretty much become a leading character in her own right, Asuna Yuki. And so, the thing is, from what I've seen of it so far, the Fairy Dance arc essentially is about Kirito having to go and rescue Asuna because she's been trapped in another kind of, you know, virtual reality MMO, Alfheim Online. And so, you know, it's just about Kirito having to find a way to get her out of there because she's been imprisoned there by nefarious forces, let's put it that way. But I think the reason why a lot of people don't like the Alfheim Online Fairy Dance sort of story arc is because Asuna, who previously had been such a standout female character, is suddenly kind of placed into a situation where, because she's kind of a captive, she doesn't have as much of a kind of time to shine, or at least she, you know, she doesn't get as much screen time as she did in the Aincrad arc. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think, you know, some people probably didn't like that, and I can understand why. Because in the Aincrad arc, you get so used to Asuna being such a standout character that to suddenly have her kind of pushed into the background a bit and not get as much screen time, I think can feel, you know, kind of jarring. And, you know, I do feel that a bit myself. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying the story so far for what it is, though I definitely feel it is weaker than the Aincrad arc. One actually interesting thing, though, is apparently Sword Art Online, from what I understand, although the anime started airing in about 2013, I think it was, technically it's an adaptation of a series of light novels from Japan, because that's how SAO started life, as a series of light novels, which I think were first published in 2009 even. And that's interesting because, of course, I've never encountered the light novels. So, thing is, when it comes to judging the anime, I have to kind of judge it on its own merits. I can't really, judge it in terms of how well it recaptures the essence of the light novels, because obviously I've never encountered them, so I don't have that point of comparison. But, yeah, so, I don't know, is the Fairy Dance arc still kind of regarded as being the weakest SAO arc, even in the light novels, perhaps? I don't know. Anyone out there who is an SAO fan or who's watched it, whatever, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But yeah, there we are. Okay. So I've really quite rambled on about SAO at the moment. So yeah, I've still got another 6 or so episodes to go of Season 1 of SAO. But yeah, so we'll see how the Fairy Dance arc turns out. Could be very interesting. I don't know. But essentially, the storyline of it is that, well, the general kind of storyline... Okay, I'm just looking at this memorial plaque. It's James H. Paul again. Okay, right, well, the statues in the middle of these castles are all just James H. Paul. So I'm guessing there's no kind of variation in that regard. I'm guessing where the variation could be is in terms of the blue plaques. But yeah, the overall storyline of SAO, of course, is that it follows the protagonist Kirito, who is a teenage boy, and... Well, the first season takes place over the course of 2 years. So when we first meet Kirito, I'm guessing he's about 14 years old, around about there, because he's 16 by the end of... Well, by the end of the Aincrad arc, I should say, actually. The Aincrad arc, for the first sort of half of the first season, that's taking place over the course of 2 years. So Kirito, by the end of that arc, is 16. Asuna, I think, when we first meet her, is about 15 years old. By the end of the Aincrad arc, she's 17. So the idea is that Sword Art Online is set in the near future. It's in the sort of early to mid 2020s. And basically, in this world, there is this virtual reality hardware called the Nerve Gear, which people buy. And, there are these big sort of MMOs, virtual reality MMOs, which in many ways are not just virtual reality, it's like proper immersive kind of artificial reality that people use, and they access it through the Nerve Gear. And SAO, Sword Art Online, is the next kind of big game in this system. And Kirito and Asuna and all the various characters, they log in to this game, and they get there and they find it's amazing, it's fantastic, but then they discover something really freaky, that there's no logout button. And meaning effectively that they're trapped inside the game, and the game's maker basically appears to them and tells them that if they want to get out the game, they have to clear the entire thing. Because the thing is, like, the way the world of Aincrad within SAO is structured, it's like set up in a series of floors. There's about 100 of them. Is there about 100 of them, or have I got that wrong? If I misremembered, I'm not sure. It's a large number, at least. In order to, and in order to escape the game, the players basically have to clear out all of those floors and defeat the final boss. And that's how they'll get out. So yeah, that's the basic gist of SAO. And that's what, the Aincrad arc is all about. It's about the players clearing out the entire game bit by bit. And it's about Kirito and Asuna and how, their sort of struggle within this world. And things, they fall in love, they set up a relationship and all that. But then in episode 14, the Aincrad arc comes to a close, the entire game is cleared, and Kirito wakes up in the real world in hospital, not knowing whether Asuna is still alive or not. But then, the Fairy Dance arc starts, episode 15 begins 2 months after that, and Asuna is still alive, but for reasons unknown, she's still kind of trapped in the Nerve Gear. She's still trapped in kind of a state of unconsciousness, and Kirito basically discovers that there are nefarious plans afoot concerning her, and that she's basically been trapped in another game, Alfheim Online, and so he has to go into that game to try and work out who's trapped her in there and why they have done so, which is really interesting. But it's an interesting setup, but I'm guessing that some people don't like the way it was executed, maybe, because obviously it kind of renders Asuna into a bit of a damsel in distress almost. And here's the thing, my kind of thoughts on the sort of damsel in distress character archetype are that I can understand why people maybe don't like it, but I personally think that the damsel in distress character archetype can work. It can be done correctly if it's handled sort of sensitively and tactfully, because that's the thing, I think some of the main kind of criticisms of the damsel in distress archetype come down to, well, Jesus, that was a lot of pheasants all at once then. I think some of the criticisms of it really come down to that, in many ways, that sort of archetype can easily become just an expression of essentially someone's fantasy, you know, especially of a kind of slightly perverted male fantasy, let's put it that way. You know, and that's understandable. Basically, if you're ever looking at a damsel in distress kind of character, and you're, you know, wondering whether the character has been handled correctly, well, just ask yourself, you know, are we seeing this character's feelings? Are we, you know, being given an opportunity to see into this character's mind, to understand what makes them tick? How do they kind of regard their own situation? How do they feel about it? If the answer to that sort of thing is yes, then in my opinion, the character may not just be, you know, a bland, generic damsel in distress, but one who's actually been kind of handled correctly. Then you ask yourself another question. Is the damsel essentially just being treated as a slab of meat to be kind of ogled at? You know, is she just a vehicle for fan service? That kind of thing. If the answer to that question is yes, then that's a damsel in distress who is not being handled really appropriately, in my eyes. And so far from what I've seen of the fairy dance arc of Sword Art Online, although Asuna is not getting comparatively as much screen time as she did in the Aincrad arc, we are getting to see, you know, how she's trying to stay strong in spite of the adverse circumstances. So, in that respect, there is an effort to kind of, you know, avoid this particular damsel in distress situation just becoming bland and generic, if you know what I mean, and just becoming a male fantasy. So, we'll see how it progresses over the next, over the remaining 6 episodes or so of Season 1. I'm definitely interested to see where it goes. There's tension there. The storyline definitely has that, which is good in my eyes, because it means that I'm pretty much invested. You know, I'm thinking, oh my god, you know, is Asuna going to be rescued? Is she going to be okay? You know, I'm very much rooting for the character, because she is quite an interesting character. I do like her. But yeah, so yes, I'm so far from what I've watched of it, I seem to be turning into an SAO fanboy, let's be honest. But yes, I also discovered when I was actually browsing through the Google Play Store on my mobile phone, you can actually buy a app called Wake Me Up Asuna, which apparently is like an Asuna Yuki alarm clock, where she actually talks to you, and you can set her to wake you up in the morning, you can set her to kind of keep a calendar for you, things like this. I'll be honest, you know, I think, you know, part of me is morbidly curious, well, not morbidly, that's the wrong word, part of me is curious, I say, to actually download that and see what it's like, but at the same time, part of me is reluctant to do so for the fear that the moment I download that app onto my phone, I feel like I will be transcending a boundary. I'll be going from casual anime watcher to full-on otaku, weeaboo, whatever. But yes. Oh, fuck it, I'll just download it out of curiosity. You know, that's my excuse. Curiosity. I couldn't help myself. That's what I'll say to reassure myself that I'm not turning into a complete weeaboo or something. But yeah. Okay, it looks like the jetty to the West Island's over here, so we'll go over there. We'll have a look for another castle. I'm thinking at this rate I may just, you know, make the memorial tour this one episode and then call it quits on it and move on to something else in the next episode of Sir. But yeah. Very good stuff. So yeah, that's one big discussion there about SAO, which I've been watching recently. Let me know in the comments if you've watched SAO and what your thoughts on it were. Are you SAO fanboy / fangirl? Or are you in the community of people who likes to hate on it a little bit? Or did you not like it for whatever reason? And let me know in the thoughts, you know. It'll be interesting to hear, because, like I say, you know, from what I've seen of it so far, I'm enjoying it, don't get me wrong, I'm liking it, but I can definitely see why, and why some people like to hate on it, because, you know, that's the thing about me, you know, I don't like to become, you know, a raving fanboy who's completely incapable of handling criticism, you know, I'm capable of handling criticism, at the end of the day I'm an academic, it's what I freaking do for a living, practically, so yeah. But yeah, let me know in the thoughts. If you didn't like SAO, you know, feel free to explain why. Feel free to say so. I'm not going to jump down your throat. Because that's the thing. Too many people these days, in my opinion, sometimes can't handle criticism. I don't know, it is a bit of a worrying trend. I mean, I may be exaggerating it a little bit. Without actually conducting a proper study, then, you know, we can't say for certain. Okay, another blue plaque. Great persons, Louise James, 1973, 2061. A level 2 fighter, apparently. How interesting. Bloody hell, yes. Okay, well, as I was saying, you know, as an academic, I'm always capable of taking criticism. But yes, there we are. So let me know your thoughts in SAO below. Now, is there going to be another castle somewhere on this island? We've just been to this one up here. Yeah, I don't really see another one, to be honest, on here. Oh, God. Okay, well, let's turn around, just head back to the jetty and move on, I think. And let me drink up some more of my tea whilst I'm at it. There we are. But yes. Whew, yeah. I've actually run out of things to say. Because I've been on such a big ramble about SAO this episode. I haven't really left myself much else to talk about. What building is that over there? Is that a freaking mill? The hell? There's a big freaking building over there. I really need a torch. If I can get my hands on one. Why is there a mill on here? This is a friggin'... Well, this is a friggin' cross between a rural biome and a castle biome. This is a friggin' industrial biome building. Why is this spawning? Why is it generating in the friggin' water? Half flooded. What's the deal there? Well, I'll take some dynamite, certainly. You know, always love a good bit of dynamite. Oh, there's the door there. Hold on. There's more of that bad boy stuff there in there. Feels like it's been nighttime forever. What's going on? Oh, there's the door. Nope, nothing there. Was there a door around the back of this building? I can never remember. Oh, yes there is. Okay. But there's nothing actually there. Okay, never mind. Back to the jetty, everybody. Let's move on. In fact, actually, no. I think... Fuck it. We're going to wrap this episode up here, I think. And we'll call it, you know... We'll call it time on the memorial tour. Because we've been round, we've seen a lot of stuff. And I think there's probably not much else really of interest to see in that regard. Okay, we'll tell you what, yeah, we'll wrap up here. So, this was the memorial tour, everybody. Concluding now in episode 229 of So You're Being Hunted with me, General Red Strategist. We've had a massive big discussion, or rather I've had a bit of a one-sided discussion in this episode about the merits and of course the potential criticisms of Sword Art Online, which I've been watching fairly recently, well, watching the first season of at least. But yes, like I said, I'm enjoying it for what it is, but, you know, I can definitely see why some people maybe wouldn't like it, because there are flaws in it, let's be honest. It's not a perfect anime, but, like I say, it is one of those animes that has a huge fan base out there, and, like I also said at the start of the discussion, it's one of those animes that a lot of people sort of kind of, well, it's the anime that a lot of people watch first, and then it gets them kind of into anime more generally. I mean... That's not the case for me. The first anime I actually ever watched was Orimo, which was an interesting one to start out on. Well, first anime TV series, that is. Technically, if you're counting films as well, then my first anime was Howl's Moving Castle, a Studio Ghibli one. I'm getting into a whole other conversation here, so yeah. Hope you enjoyed this episode, everybody. And obviously, when I come back for episode 230, we'll be doing something different. Maybe another challenge... Or maybe, well, I don't know, we'll just do some more podcast-style episodes. I'm not sure. We'll see. But yeah. Okay, so if you're not doing so already, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links in the video description as always. Or go sign up to those to stay up to date with my uploads as and when I publish them. Blah, blah, blah. You all know the drill in that regard by now. If you're also interested in seeing me react to, /watch, or /review anime content... then go and check out my General Red Propagandist channel. Link in the video description, or you can navigate to it from the link on the right-hand side of the Strategist channel main page. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you know, it's up to you. Go and check it out. You might find something you like. I don't update it very frequently, but when I do, well, I try to update it every so often, basically, because, you know, there's a few people subscribed to that, waiting for anime-related jizz. So yes, that's an interesting way of putting it. That just came out of my mouth. What the hell's that? Oh dear, ignore what I just said there. But yes, thank you everybody, and goodbye all. Oh, got him! Shit! Get off the edge! Oh! No, go! Get out of here, get out! No, I'm gonna die! Ah! That's that monstrosity finished off. Get over there. See ya. Oh shit, no! Oh, fuck! I did not mean to do that. Oh, please don't tell me I have to kill it again now. Shit! Stop it! Yeah. Oh lord! No, 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 no! Holy crap! This area's horrible. Oh my god, I'm being shot to fucking pieces! Ah! Oh my... What the fuck? Holy shit! Holy fucking shit! Whoa! Jesus Christ! Holy shit! Fucking hell! Bloody hell, that did like 1,000,000 damage! This better not be a... Whoa! Shit! No! Oh my fucking god! How many... What?